Millions of people tuned in. It broke records. Think and say what you want. Jake Paul doing big things. In fact, he made an announcement today. The update is, according to Jake Paul, his boxing path forward is building MVP promotions. The company's going to be focused on women in prospects and cultural events in any sport. Look, the Serrano-Taylor fight was insane. The Mario Barrios fight was great. So there were great fights if you were able to watch them.
Is leaning into women's sports his way to try to get people to hate him less? Like, let me do something that's very approved by society. I'm going to lean into women's sports. I won't be that much of a douche.
Well, he promotes Serrano, who basically fought Taylor and won twice, but has nothing to show for it because she lost. That was arguably the greater fight of the weekend.
Arguably.
Well, because I thought the Barrios-Ramos fight was really great, too. No, that was a draw.
The best fight of the weekend was by far Serrano-Taylor.
Yeah, and you weren't paying attention to Barrios. That was a good fight.
You think the Barrios fight?
It was a really good fight, man. It was a draw. That's how good it was. It was a close fight. So, anyway, he says he's focused on becoming a world champion, but he won't fight a better BF. He's nowhere in that range. And doing massive events along the way. That's, according to Jake Paul today, MVP promotions. You got top 5 pound-for-pound boxers calling him out now because he's the payday, he's the money guy. And they also do want to show, like, hey, man, he's not that good. He beat a 50-year-old guy who hasn't fought in 20 years.
58.
I said 58.
He said 50.
58. Sounded like 50.
Those 8 years make a big difference.
Sounded like 50. I know he's 58. I only said it 8,000 times in the past few months leading up to this.
Dude, it's okay, dude. You're sick.
We waited 9 months to get this fight. Finally get it. Your thoughts? Did you feel like deflated afterward?
Like Mike Tyson's butt cheeks?
Did you? Did you feel weird juicy the next day? I feel like I'm still processing the whole thing. Like, yeah. I mean, what did you expect? If you listen to everything I said, again, I'm Covino. Yeah, of course I was rooting for Tyson. That guy's my childhood. The 3 Mikes. Mike Tyson, Michael Jordan,
and
Michael Jackson.
I thought Mike Pagliarulo.
Mike Brady. Yeah, Mike. So, I was rooting for Tyson, but I knew Jake Paul was going to win. Actually, Father Time wins. But there's still a lot of feedback coming in, Rich, of how it was all fixed. Just because a guy like Jake Paul shows mercy to an older Mike Tyson, knowing he could beat him, doesn't mean it's fixed. It means he has compassion. That happens in sports. That happens in life. You know you won. You don't need to embarrass the guy.
I don't look at that as fixed either.
But people have a problem with that. Like that adds the icing to the fixed cake. Like, see, and he didn't even end it. Yeah, that's called compassion. Anytime a young fighter is in the ring with some guy who looks washed or old and he has a legacy, you see compassion showed sometimes because there's no need to hurt somebody.
Like, would you have felt better if Jake Paul sadly knocked Mike Tyson out and then we all got even more sad?
So your thoughts? I am very excited to see what Spot and Jay Stu had to say about it because I know they weren't that pumped about it to begin with. What's up, Spotty?
I'm curious. I think the question of the fix was not whether Jake Paul was scripted or he was going easy on him. It was the videos we had seen of Tyson leading up to the fight, of him in the ring doing those like quick little.
Yeah, but that's ridiculous. I could do that at the gym, and then I would be the biggest wimp in the ring. Like that's like putting a punching bag in front of me. And if you're a generally athletic guy, you could look like you're working the bag. Put me in a ring, I would cower in the corner.
Let me quote a one-time great, a legend. Everybody has a plan until they're punched in the face by a 27-year-old beefcake who's been in the gym consistently for 4+ years, and that's exactly what you saw. You saw Mike Tyson, a feeble, could barely stand. The dude tripped walking into the ring. No. He just battled from an ulcer, almost a death-defying sort of moment. Just 4 months ago?
Yeah. Right. He's wearing the knee brace.
Yeah, he's wearing a knee brace. He got his ass cheeks out. So, your thoughts? He got paid. He made $20 million. There's no losers here. Mike Tyson was very gracious in defeat, saying, he already outcame the odds. He lasted 8 rounds with the young man and made a lot of money. What are your thoughts? Let's chop it up before we get into things that made you go, NFL, everything else this weekend. One last thing, Spotty.
One more thought. Based on what Rich said earlier about what Jake Paul's announced, like he's focusing on women boxing.
And by the way, was the fight of the night. Serrano's eye almost fell off.
He's a promoter.
Could this have been Like, were we a little bit duped? Like, was this a bait and switch? Like, let's create this massive event, but really have this like greatest female undercard exciting fight, and that'll draw attention to that, and then I'll be able to launch my brand.
I think that's a given. Meaning, if Jake Paul really is one of the greatest marketers of our day, he's a modern day Don King, but taking it into the ring, putting on these circus acts, and putting on a show where how many millions of people tuned in? So much so that Netflix was crashing. Of course he's going to showcase his own team of boxers and people he promotes. That's a given. So that's what happened. Your thoughts? Let's go to the phones. 877-99 on Fox. And Jay Stu, you were so reluctant on Friday. It was so great to hear your perspective on Friday's show. He said he wasn't going to watch, but guess what? He gave into the FOMO. What were your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I walked away here on Friday thinking I'm going to be the one person that doesn't watch this, and I was going to remain stubborn to that.
Oh, how was Lincoln Lawyer, by the way?
On the way home.
Lincoln Lawyer was good, though? Yeah, I know.
I was like a night of Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix. It would be great with the with Christina, but I will say this. You get home, and then you're on Twitter, and all the buzz is about the fight and all the circus going on in the undercards, and I'm like, I gave into FOMO. I couldn't
Don't
not
feel bad.
experience it.
You're one of the 60-plus million people that tuned in and crashed the site.
I did, and I really regretted it afterwards, guys, because as compassionate as you guys think Paul was, I just thought that I fell for it. I fell for the hype. When Paul was saying he was going to kick his ass and all this stuff, I didn't see that as just like boxing hype. I actually thought the kid was dumb enough to want to kill an old man. And I fell for that. And I feel really stupid for doing it.
So you wish you didn't watch it. And did you feel bad for Tyson?
I absolutely wish I didn't watch it, but I will say all the hubbub around it and the I experienced in the buffering and all that stuff, you felt like a shared experience with the rest of the world. We all got buffered on Friday night.
That is true.
We all lost.
Now the question is, who's the greatest buffer, Michael, Bruce, or Netflix?
Yeah.
You know, that is the question.
That is
after
the
this
meme I
episode.
saw.
Iowa Samuel, who doesn't have Netflix, he's that guy.
I would have watched if I had Netflix.
I mean, you have friends with Netflix. You have neighbors.
I would have lent you my
with
Netflix
Netflix.
password.
I was still here finishing up work, and I caught a few of the undercard fights in passing in and out of the studio. But yeah, I didn't see the actual fight.
What was your impression of the highlights?
It seemed like a lot of holding, a lot of grabbing. There was really not like a big punch that even made just sticks out in my mind.
He was gassed after the second round. Yeah, the first two rounds were exciting, and then, like we said, Father Time kicked in. We thought Tyson could have had a chance up until 4 rounds if you missed Friday's show. But, we're going to go to your calls and your feedback now. Tyson said, this is one of those situations when you lose but still win. I was grateful for the fight. No regrets to get in the ring one last time. I almost died in June. I had 8 blood transfusions, lost half my blood, and 25 pounds in the hospital, and had to fight to get healthy. He was happy to have his children see him stand toe-to-toe and finish 8 rounds with a talented fighter half his age. A packed Dallas Cowboys stadium, and an experience that no man has the right to ask for. He thanks the fans. And again, over 60 million people watched that fight.
Let me ask you, you said one last time. Was he a little caught up in the moment, or was he actually mean it when he said that he might fight again?
Nah, he should be done. That was it.
But I mean, not in this capacity.
But you don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
Like, what does that mean? 'Cause he didn't seem like he was done.
You know,
He's like, I don't know.
maybe.
I think, however, everything you're saying makes sense. I agree with Jay Stu. It was a shared experience. Oh, your Netflix isn't working. Everyone that we were with, there was one point where my phone was the only thing that was working. So like, are we gonna have to gather around Richard's phone? And then the TV started working. We had another TV in another room. Everyone had that same shared experience.
You know what was working? Sidney Thomas. Sidney Thomas was working.
Whoa.
And that I thought the brunette ring card girl. We monitored this because I care very much about these ladies. the
Thought I was watching the Golden Globes.
Who's the hot brunette? Hold on.
Well, it kept buffering and pausing and freezing on the ring card girls. Sydney Thomas, a lot of people are saying, was the big winner of the night.
There was one picture where it was Ariel Hawani's head right in front of her boobs. And I'm like, how is everyone not screenshotting this and being like, this is where we're at right now?
She may have been the real star, real winner. And, of course, the Mike Tyson ass shot that really, I think, confused the nation. So we're going to go to your phones, all right? And wrap this up once and for all. What's in store for Jake Paul? Do you care? Are you over this now? Can we get back to real fighting, real boxing?
I found her. The girl that I was like, oh, who's that too? Besides the blonde Sydney girl. Her name is Rafaela Milagres.
Oh, yes, please.
The brunette.
See.
Oh,
Por-
my.
Ay, Dios mío.
I looked, the minute they flashed her Instagram, this is something Jay Stu would do. Because Jay Stu is always quick to the punch on social media. I was like, how many followers does she have? And let's see what this does for her. She had 128,000 followers. She currently has 179. So she picked up a good 50+ thousand followers just by being hot and then flashing a picture of her and her Instagram handle for literally 3 seconds. Shows the power of dudes' dirty brains and how big this event was.
So we're talking about the biggest event of the weekend, bigger than UFC 309, bigger than Week 11, bigger than the Sakai Takai.
No, it's not.
Oh, well, that's debatable. Maybe we'll bring that up and things that make you go, But now we're going...
Speaking of good-looking women,
yeah.
The girl on the new season,
man,
holy
Rich,
bananas.
You're all...
yeah, what's her name?
You're all...
Raina Vallandingham? Raina Vallandingham. Her last name has like 17 letters. But she is the new girl on Cobra Kai who's gorgeous.
Yeah, and she actually has legitimate skills. She was not just an actress.
She's 13-time world champion in Taekwondo. Anyway, let me just give you one last thought about the fight, not about all the fine-looking women.
How about you focus for a second?
Dan Byers' ears perk up.
Dan Byers, he's like...
No, I've just been waiting. I've been waiting to, for the transition over here.
Dan Byers thinking to himself, why'd you wear gray sweatpants? Keep it down in there, buddy.
No way she's going to beat Sam LaRusso, though.
I don't know.
In the Sakai Takai?
I mean,
How
come
that
on.
girl wins any karate match, I have no idea, yet is in some world championship. I haven't seen the second part.
Dan,
You
let me
seen
tell
her
you.
spinning round kick or whatever?
Dan, this is...
Sam LaRusso's less convincing than Mike Tyson.
So true.
We started, Covino and I, after some drinks and one of the nights we were partying in Miami with our friends, we watched the first couple of Cobra Kai. You, more so than ever, you have to check your brain at the door.
It's great,
The
though.
fact that, like, the crime that happens, the fact that karate, they make it seem like karate is the biggest thing in the world. It is the most fictionally hilarious thing in the world. Like there was, I don't want to give anything away, but there's one point where someone gets, like, assaulted, and it's like, all in the name of karate.
Did you
like,
you finished this portion, right?
No.
You mean this portion? It's it.
All I'm saying is that
There's one more. There's one more chunk.
it's 3 parts?
It's 3 parts.
Spot, all I'm saying.
No
all I'm
way.
saying is Spot.
I thought this was it.
No, there's one more chunk.
Spotty boy.
What?
If you don't want even the littlest of spoilers, just close your ears for 5 seconds. But there is one
just
part.
you wait, my friend.
There's one part where, as a Dan Byer, I'm good.
I'm starting to regret that I even said Sakai Takai. Goodness.
There's one part where, let's just say Ralph Macchio goes to like a random place, like that he doesn't know where he's going, and he gets attacked with a crowbar. And I'm like, what is going on here in the name of karate? Anyway, back to the fight. My last observation, then the phone calls.
And DBs, you blabbermouth.
I think
he's in the middle of something.
I think the hype and all the lead up it gave us was worth it, even though the fight stunk. Meaning,
yeah, dude, millions of people got together.
The press conference, the pushing.
We had a great night,
like
regardless.
Even Tyson's intro and walk to the ring was like a throwback to our childhood. Like, we turned to all our friends and said, did you ever think you'd see Mike Tyson walk to the ring again? And I think even though the fight itself stunk, and there was one round where Mike Tyson, you felt like, ooh, maybe he's got a punch, and you're like, it's not going to happen. That alone made it at least, I think, worth it.
I love that he walked by himself. I love that.
Yeah, that was the look in his eye was, I wasn't sure what to make of that. Jace, dude, do you see the look? Like, when he was walking down by himself, I was like, is he that focused? Like, he's going to murder Jake Paul? Or is he like, I'm old and this is a bad idea?
I just always got the impression even during the fight, that Mike was on something, some mind-altering. I don't know if it was pot or what, but
smoked a toad.
My question is this:
I smoked a toad.
I smoked a toad.
I mean, that's how I felt watching Errol Spence fight Terrence Crawford.
Yeah.
Has Paul's car gotten to the ring yet?
And he had the pigeon behind him. That was good. All right, DB,
No, that's all right. I felt I was in the zone on Twitter during that fight. I felt like it was just coming to me, here and there.
Let's hear some of them. I want to hear some of your highlights.
I think the moment's passed, but I will say this. There got to a point, you said after the second round, where I was just holding on, hoping he wouldn't get knocked out. Yeah. Where it was like you're on the ride, you're just like, ride, please stop with nothing, happening. And that's how I felt basically through rounds 3 through 8.
Yeah. No, it remind me of the way you just described. You ever get in a car with someone and they try to be a show off and they're driving really fast and you're like, yo, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Slow down.
This one guy in Oklahoma took a curve at like 90 a couple of weeks ago.
Oh,
it's Jay Stu. That's who it was who's on the phone right now.
Way to go, Jay Stu.
It's all right.
Jay Stu scaring you on the roads.
Yeah.
877-99 on Fox if you want to chime in. These are the observations. Speaking of going fast, the 2-minute rounds, advantage Mike, I get it. That went too quick. It really didn't give you any time to build a rhythm or really get into it. The fight went fast. So it was a great time regardless, just a crappy fight. I'm still processing. Let's take one phone call now and then the rest next, okay? 877-99 on Fox. Who do we got?
We'll start with Andy in Providence. What's up? Andy.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm actually calling you guys because I was the one that called you guys on Friday, and I was actually out there in Arlington with my fiance for the fight, and the atmosphere was amazing. But like you guys said, the fight was a dud, but I'll tell you what, I'm still trying to figure out if Serrano found her left eyebrow because that gash was... it was crazy.
You were at the arena, and I'm sure you saw those big, the big screens that Jerry put in. But I'm shocked they let the fight continue. It looked like her eye, gash. I've never seen something like that in my life. But she got robbed for the second time. How did she not win that fight? The heart she showed, and she won.
What was that fight we were at in Vegas that was really bloody?
Oh, the Tim Tszyu fight.
Yeah,
Fedora Tim Tszyu.
Anytime you get
all over the place.
Yeah, anytime you get sort of head. I mean, you see this a few
It was
times in
out of
boxing,
control,
but the head wounds, just because of the small blood vessels, always look so much worse.
Oy.
It looks like a bloodbath.
But guys, I don't think there was any fix. I don't think anything was orchestrated. I don't think Mike Tyson was holding back. I do think Jake Paul was holding back, but that's just out of compassion. That happens in sport and in life. That's just a human moment. I don't think that's a scripted moment. And I think when you look at it from that perspective, I don't think Jake Paul could have handled it any better. He won. He didn't want to embarrass it. He had respect for a legend. That happens. At Covino and Rich, at Fox Sports Radio, if you want to play along at home. Let's go back to the phones.
Kevin in Minnesota, you're up next. What's up, Kev?
First time, long time, fellas. Man, watching the GOAT was awesome. But, so my niece had her 9th birthday. It was really awesome. We're grinding back home on the highway an hour from home to get back, rush back, so we don't miss the fight. My 13-year-old and I, we sit down, and we're just like, all right, we got back. The girls are just walking up the ramp to start. We get to the 9th round, and it's just a heater, man. And so 10th round's about to begin, and it starts to buffer, and I can't get it to work, and it's just like,
Kevin, you bring up two things, right? The fact that you and your son were bonding, that was a lot of the sentiment from a lot of people. Like, it brought families and generations together. So that's a win for everybody. You need, as a parent, those bonding moments, especially if your kid's a teen. It's hard to find things to bond over, but they know Jake Paul.
Yeah, it's not like you're going to Camp Flognaw with your daughter.
Yeah, which is where my daughter went to see Tyler, the Creator, over the weekend, right? So you find those bonding moments. And then, that buffering part that he speaks of, speaking of generations, I got my mom, who's 70-something, hit me up. Steven, what's going on? Is your Netflix buffering? I'm like, Mom, everybody, it's broken. Our instinct, obviously, is to go to Twitter and see if everyone else is complaining, right? If everyone's experiencing
that
and
earthquakes.
Thing. Right. And my mom, she has to hit me up. What's going on? I'm like, Mom, relax. Everybody is going through the same thing. Yeah. All right, let's go to Sebastian. You're on the Covino and Rich show.
Yo, guys, I'm calling from Court Valley. I Uber drive full time here, so I kind of know what the city does all day long. And the fight closed down the city. I didn't have any rights for the entirety of this fight. Everybody was sitting and watching. I kind of like when, we do that as all types of people get together and watch one huge event.
It was a big night. It really was. Like, again, we can look back now and say, like, yeah, it under-delivered maybe your expectations and what you dreamt it could be, but still, it brought us all together.
Yeah.
And
it broke records.
Bruno in Brooklyn. What's up, Bruno?
Gentlemen, good afternoon. Hey, I had a watch party. If nothing else, we had a good crew together, good hardcore party. We had a lot of fun, with all the glitches and stuff. We still had a good time. The wild thing was, and I think everybody went into this wanting to see Mike look like old Mike. Wasn't going to happen, unfortunately. And you know what? I think Paul held back. I think he could have knocked him out, but what good would that have done? He would have looked like a dog if he did it. And the only thing I'm going to say about it, it's like Christmas. The hype leading up to it was bigger than the event itself.
Bam. Let's end on that.
Dude.
Perfect.
It's like Thanksgiving dinner.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I actually had written down, much like Christmas, the holiday season itself is way better than Christmas Day. Christmas Day, you
couldn't let Bruno have it.
Because I agree. He was so right on.
I wrote it down.
I also was going to say the same thing.
All right, I'm sorry, Bruno. Next time someone has a killer point, I'm going to steal it, just like Rich did.
I'm going to do that too.
Hey, hold on.
I wrote that down.
But
oh my God, that's so crazy.
What Bruno and Rich are saying is that the journey was better than the destination.
And it was a perfect.
Sam, are you reading my paper in here? Come on.
Sometimes the thought of sleeping with a woman is better than actually sleeping with her.
No, he's right. That's exactly it. He
maybe
nailed
not.
it.
Sometimes.
Even bad pizza is still pizza.
That's true.
He nailed it, though. So what's next? We'll see. I really hope this. I was going to say this guy. I was going to say something mean. Jake Paul. I hope Jake Paul really fights a guy his age, a contender. Takes the sport serious, continues down that path. Enough of the side shows.
What was your favorite meme? Who's next? Jimmy Carter? Did you like who?
Yeah, that's not fair to
Muhammad Ali.
If he was holding back, then why are those memes out there that he should go fight the corpse of some,
Yeah.
So it's like that's not fair because if he was holding back and giving Tyson a break, then it's not like it was.
The internet's not fair.
Yeah,
period.
it's really not.
Well, let me ask you this then.
But no one knows that more than Jake Paul, by the way.
And then we can put a stamp on this and seal this conversation and move on to football. And maybe there's a little part of me delaying football because I have a reality I must face as a 49ers fan. I'll explain.
Oh, boy.
But Jake Paul, you could say, who cares about this guy? You've said it forever, and yet he's still the guy. Is Conor McGregor interesting to you?
No.
Because he's
too small.
Yeah, but Conor McGregor's a pretty famous badass, the most followed MMA wrestler,
they were talking
fighter of all.
Gervonta Davis. Like, if you want to talk, like, again, circus sideshow or, like, just fights of intrigue, like a man versus bear, like Jake Paul, Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis weighs 135 pounds. Jake Paul walks around at like 235 pounds.
I'm saying
like that. Those are ridiculous things to. I'm not saying they can't happen because if there's enough money there and enough interest, then it could happen. But it's ridiculous to think that Conor McGregor, Jake Paul, like first of all, Conor McGregor, I don't think will ever do it.
Hold on,
just don't.
You and I are suckers for these things. So let's go to the more logical folks here.
But he's a lot smaller.
Dan Beyer, Jay Stu. Conor McGregor, Jake Paul. Are you watching?
We don't watch. Except for Jay Stu.
Yeah, I'd probably tune in.
Jake Paul, Conor McGregor.
I think I do, only because I honestly think McGregor might kill the guy.
Wow.
Jake
I
Paul,
really do.
Jake Paul said, hey, he said to McGregor, in the octagon.
I saw that.
If that's the case, imagine if Jake Paul is confident enough to be like, I'll get in the octagon with a smaller, but it's Conor McGregor.
Guys, you got to remember, Conor McGregor fought Mayweather, if I'm not mistaken, around 140. Well, it was a 147 fight, if I'm not mistaken. Jake Paul weighs almost 100 pounds more than that.
But then you can't mock this guy and say he's some little corny kid dancing on YouTube if he beats Conor McGregor in an octagon, no matter how much bigger he is.
He's got to fight a cruiserweight.
I'm way bigger than Conor McGregor.
Guy. Exactly.
But he whooped my ass.
I mean, boxing just seems so like structured and traditional. When you start bringing these spectacles into it, which I think is what a lot of people thought about this fight, is just, you're kind of taking away from what boxing actually is.
No, it's giving boxing new life, dude. When you hear names like Beterbiev, do you care?
I know, but I feel like the traditional fans are turned off by it. It's exciting to watch, but it's not boxing.
Who's a traditional fan? Your grandpappy? They're all dying that generation.
Steve COVINO. He's the biggest traditional fan of boxing. I know.
But there's room for both. There's room for both.
To me, it magnifies the game of, all right, would you fight Mike Tyson? Okay, what about for $40 million and he's 60? Then you're like, okay, I'll do it. You know, that's what it is. Like, would you fight Conor McGregor? I don't think so. What about if we gave you $30 million?
Remember that was that was like a total bar hypothetical back in the day. Like, yo, would you let Mike Tyson punch you for $1 million?
Yes.
No, could you? Would
That's
you
all this is.
What was it? Would you last a minute in the ring with Mike Tyson or take $1 million?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember the other one. Do you have a better chance of lasting 1 minute in a ring with Mike Tyson or 1 minute with a porn star? Do you remember that hypothetical?
That's a fun one.
Yeah, that was. Yeah. It's a good one.
What's your answer?
What's your answer?
I'd have a way better time with. I think I could last more with a porn star. Mike, I'm not a. I'm an in shape guy, but in a ring, I'd get demolished.